Calder Empire was proud, powerful, and feared by every world in the galaxy. For hundreds of years, no one had dared to challenge them. Their fleets were endless, their weapons were unmatched, and their rule was absolute. Whenever they attacked a planet, the result was always the same: total destruction. On this day, the Empire's Ninth Fleet had just finished crushing a small rebel colony. Flames still rose from the broken buildings. Empire soldiers celebrated inside their mighty warships, confident that nothing could ever stand in their way, but something strange was about to happen. Something that would shake the Empire to its core. A strange signal. Commander Draxus, the leader of the Ninth Fleet, stood on the bridge of his flagship. He looked out at the stars with cold eyes. Victory always pleased him, but today he felt uneasy, as if the universe itself was waiting for something. Suddenly, the ship's sensors beeped loudly. "Commander, unknown object detected," the navigator said. Draxus frowned. "How large?" "Small, sir." "Very small. About the size of a shuttle." "A shuttle?" Draxus laughed. "Probably debris." But the navigator shook his head. "No, sir, it's moving." Draxus became more serious. "Speed?" The navigator checked again, confused. "Sir, the object is moving faster than our scanners can track." The bridge went silent. Nothing in the galaxy moved faster than Afghan Empire scanners. Nothing. The object appears. The lights flickered. A soft vibration passed through the ship. And then, without warning, the mysterious object appeared right in front of them. It didn't arrive with a jump. It didn't leave a warp trail. It simply appeared, like a ghost forming out of thin air. The crew froze in terror. The object was a small ship, dark, smooth, and strange. No markings. No windows. No signs of life. It floated silently only a few hundred meters away from the flagship. "Identify it." Draxus barked. The scanners tried. They failed. "Sir, the ship is unreadable," the officer said quietly. "No material, no heat, no energy signature. It's not fully here." Commander Draxus felt fear crawl up his spine. Ships did not simply not exist on scanners. "Try weapon lock," he ordered. The crew tried. The lock broke instantly. "Sir, the targeting system cannot see it. The ship moves without moving." They watched as the strange ship glowed faintly with a soft blue light. Then something even more shocking happened. The ship moved to the left. Then it moved to the right. Then it appeared behind them, but there was no motion. No thrusters. No acceleration. It just teleported from place to place, like it was jumping between different versions of reality. "This is impossible," Draxus whispered. "Nothing can move like that." The crew looked terrified. Some stepped back. Others couldn't breathe. "Are we dealing with a ghost?" Someone said. The ship suddenly stabilized again in front of them, as if choosing to be visible. Then, a voice echoed across the bridge speakers. "Human battleship, quantum-locked prototype. Do not resist." Everyone froze. Did it say human? An officer whispered. Humans were a weak, distant species. Primitive. Powerless. Barely surviving on a small planet far from Empire space. Humans were nothing. How can this be a human ship? Draxus growled. A terrifying demonstration. Draxus ordered 3 cruisers forward. They formed a tight formation around the mysterious ship. "Trap it," he said. "I want this thing captured." The cruisers approached, and then the human ship moved. Not fast, not slow. It simply phased. One moment it was in the center of the formation. The next moment it was inside the left cruiser. The crew screamed as their screens glitched. The cruiser flickered like a glitching hologram. Then the human ship phased out, reappearing on the right side. The cruiser went dark dead. Its engines shut down. Its weapons stopped. Its power core turned cold. One touch. One moment. And the ship was completely disabled. No weapon fired, an officer whispered. Not even a beam. Draxus felt sweat run down his neck. What kind of technology is this? He muttered. The warning, the mysterious ship glowed brighter now. Its blue energy pulsed like a heartbeat. A second message filled the bridge. Do not come near human space again. This is your first and final warning. Draxus clenched his teeth. Fire! Full power! But the gunners couldn't. Sir, our weapons are offline. What? All of them? Yes, Commander. Every system is frozen. The mysterious ship slowly turned, as if looking directly at Draxus. Then, just as silently as it appeared, it vanished into the black of space. No warp signature. No trail. Nothing. It simply disappeared. Fear spreads. The crew stared into the empty space where the ship had been. What? What did we just see? Someone whispered. Drax knew the truth. This was not a simple ship. Not a drone. Not a trick. This was something far more dangerous. A human battleship. A ship that broke the laws of physics. A ship that should not exist, and it had given them a warning. Warning the Empire did not understand, but they would soon, very soon. Commander Draxus did not sleep that night. He sat alone in his dark cabin, replaying the moment when the mysterious human ship disabled his cruiser without firing a single shot. The voice. The warning. The impossible movement. All of it stayed in his mind like a nightmare refusing to fade. Empires did not fear small species. Empires did not fear humans. But now everything felt different. By morning, the entire Kelder Empire knew what had happened. A galaxy starts whispering. Reports spread through military channels faster than light. Unknown human battleship. Quantum-locked. Untouchable. Officers across the Empire read it with disbelief. Humans? With this kind of ship? Impossible. They must have stolen technology from someone. No. No ship in any known race can phase like that. The Empire had always ruled using fear. Now fear was slowly turning toward them. High Command meets inside. The Empire's war headquarters, a massive black fortress orbiting a dying star. The highest-ranking officers gathered. They sat around a round table made of obsidian stone. A hologram of the mysterious human ship floated in the center. Grand Admiral Sarikan, the most feared military leader in the galaxy, stared at the hologram with narrowed eyes. This is a mistake, he growled. Humans do not have technology like this. But the data is real, said the head scientist. The ship disables systems without physical contact. That is quantum state manipulation. Another officer spoke with a shaking voice. How can a species like humans develop this? Their world is weak. Their fleets are few. The room fell silent. The scientist swallowed nervously. Maybe they were never weak. Maybe they were just quiet. The Empire decides to hunt the ship. Grand Admiral Sarikan slammed his metal fist on the table. I want that ship found. And I want it destroyed. His voice shook the room. He activated the star map. Red dots appeared. Empire scout fleets. We will send 8 fleets, he ordered. Search every system near human territory. No mistakes. No delays. But sir, an officer said, if the ship is truly quantum-locked, Sarikan growled, everything can be destroyed. We just haven't found the right weapon yet. The order was signed. The hunt began. Spy drones sent to Earth at the same time. The Empire deployed invisible spy drones toward Earth. These drones were small, silent, and impossible to detect. They reached Earth within hours, and what they found shocked the Empire. Hidden under oceans, inside mountains, and deep in deserts. Humans were building things far beyond their expected level. Giant reactors, energy crystals. And more ships with the same strange blue glow as the battleship. The analyst's voice trembled. Sir? Earth is preparing for war. But how? The officer asked Dot, and then came the most shocking discovery. There were more quantum-locked ships under construction. Dozens. The room fell quiet. The Empire, which controlled half the galaxy, was suddenly afraid of a species they once considered inferior. First contact with a human battleship. Meanwhile, Fleet 3 of the Empire was patrolling a star system near the edge of human space. The captain relaxed in his chair. Humans are weak. That ship was an illusion. But then the sensors screamed. A blue flash. A sudden signal. An impossible ship right in front of them. The same ship that terrified Commander Draxus. Raise shields. The captain shouted, but it was too late. The human ship blinked, vanished, and reappeared behind them. The Empire ships turned to fire, but their weapons shut down instantly. Why are our guns not working? An officer cried. It's the same interference as the Draxus report. Another officer said, terrified. Then every screen in the fleet flickered. A message appeared. Do not enter human space again. Last warning. And then, boom. Not an explosion, but a pulse. A soft, silent pulse. Every ship in Fleet 3 powered down. Engines dead. Shields gone. Lights fading. They drifted helplessly as the human battleship disappeared. Evidence of a larger human plan back at the headquarters. Reports arrived one after another. A mining station vanished from Empire control. A weapons depot lost all power. A warship disappeared and reappeared drifting near a moon. All events had one sign. A blue quantum energy signature. Grand Admiral Sirikan stared at the reports, his jaw tightening. One ship cannot do this much damage. Right? The scientist looked at him nervously. We think. There is more than one. The room went cold. Sirikan spoke slowly. Are you telling me humans built a fleet of these? We cannot confirm the number. But humans now have technology that violates every known law of physics. Anger and fear mixed inside the Admiral. The truth, the Empire didn't want to hear. Commander Draxus was summoned to the capital. He stood in front of the High Command, looking older and tired. What are the humans planning, Commander? Sirikan demanded. Draxus took a long breath. I think humans were never preparing for war, he said quietly. I think they are preparing for something bigger. What could be bigger than war? Sirikan snapped. Draxus looked him in the eye. Taking away the galaxy's fear. Ending the Empire's rule. Humans are not attacking. They are changing everything. The officers stared in stunned silence. The warning from the human battleship. The disablement of fleets, the strange construction on Earth. It was all connected. The humans were rising, silently, powerfully, and unstoppable. The Empire was no longer the hunter. They were the prey. Fleet 3 drifted powerless through cold space. Every officer inside the dark command bridge felt the same crushing fear. They were one of the Empire's strongest patrol groups, and yet a single human ship had shut them down like toys. No explosions, no damage, no casualties. Just total defeat without a single shot fired. The message still echoed in their minds. Do not enter human space again. The return of Fleet 3 hours later, emergency power slowly came back. Engines hummed weakly. Screens flickered. The fleet crawled back to the nearest Empire station, wounded not in metal but in pride. Grand Admiral Sirikan watched the fleet arrive. Even from his command tower, he could see the fear on their faces. These men look like they have seen death, he muttered. But the truth was worse. They had seen something beyond death. They had seen a ship that physics itself obeyed. Inside the science division, deep inside the Empire's research zone, the best scientists gathered around recordings of the human ship. A holoscreen played the moment it phased through the cruiser. The scientists watched frame by frame. "Notice this," the chief scientist said. "The ship becomes transparent for a moment." "Like a ghost," another scientist whispered. "Not a ghost," the chief corrected. "A quantum state shift. The ship is both physical and non-physical at the same time." The room froze. That's impossible," someone said. The chief nodded. "Exactly. But humans have done it." He tapped a screen. A diagram of the battleship appeared, glowing blue. "We now believe the humans found a way to lock their ship between multiple realities. We call it quantum-locked technology." "What does that mean for battle?" one officer asked. The chief answered with a shaking voice. "It means weapons cannot target the ship, because the ship chooses when it wants to exist." The officers swallowed hard. "And its power?" another officer asked. The chief turned pale. "It can rewrite the energy states of other ships. That's how it shuts down fleets, without firing." Silence spread like a cold wind. This was no longer just advanced technology. This was something far beyond what the Empire understood. Orders from the Emperor himself summoned Grand Admiral Sarikin to his throne room. A tall, silent figure with glowing red eyes. The Emperor had ruled through terror for over a century. He watched the hologram of the human ship float before him. "So, this tiny species dares challenge the Empire?" the Emperor asked softly. Sarikin bowed. "Your Majesty, it is only one ship." "One ship," the Emperor repeated, "that has shut down 2 of our fleets." Sarikin didn't speak. The Emperor stood. "Send the Black Spear Hunters." Sarikin's eyes widened. "But they are only for extreme threats." "This is an extreme threat," the Emperor said. "Bring me that ship, dead or alive." The hunters began their mission. The Black Spears were feared across the galaxy. Their ships were small, fast, and armed with forbidden weapons. They hunted pirates, rebels, and even giant space beasts. This time, they had a new target, the human battleship. Their leader, Captain Jargon, stood before his team. "This ship can move between realities," he said. "It can disable entire fleets. So we will use stealth. We will attack from the shadows." His team nodded, confident. The Black Spears never failed, but they had no idea what they were facing. The ambush. The Black Spears found the human ship near a dead star, calm, silent, unmoving. It seemed almost asleep. Captain Jargon smiled. "Now we strike. Charge the null energy cannons." But when they activated the weapon, the human ship simply vanished. A second later, it appeared inside the Black Spear formation. The hunters panicked. "How did it teleport?" "It didn't teleport," Jargon said slowly. "It changed states. The ship didn't fire. It didn't move, but a soft ripple of blue light spread outward. 1, 2, 3. Every Black Spear ship froze. Their engines died. Their weapons shut down. Even their life support flickered. "What is it doing to us?" one pilot shouted. A calm voice filled their ships. "You are hunters, but you do not understand your prey." Captain Jargon trembled. What are you?" The human voice replied, "I am Q Genesis, the first of my kind. I am a weapon built not to kill, but to end war." The hunters stared in terror. The ship continued. "Return to your empire. Tell them this. We do not want your war, but we will end your violence permanently." Then, in a blink, the ship disappeared. The hunters were left floating in silence. A dark realization when the Black Spears returned to the Empire capital. They were changed men. Fear was in their eyes, shame in their voices. Grand Admiral Sarikin listened to Jargon's report. It controlled our ships without touching them," Jargon said. "It spoke to us, it watched us, it understood us." Sarikin's face grew pale. The scientist who stood nearby whispered, "A ship that understands its enemy. A ship that can phase in and out of reality. A ship that cannot be destroyed. He looked up slowly. Admiral, humans have built something beyond a weapon. Sarikhan clenched his fists. What is it then? The scientist answered quietly, a god in the shape of a ship. The Emperor's rage when the Emperor heard the report, he slammed his fist on his throne. I will not be humbled by insects, he roared. Prepare the ultimate weapon. If quantum technology is their strength, then we will tear open space itself. The officers trembled. What weapon, Your Majesty? The Emperor's red eyes glowed brighter. The Starbreaker. Activate it. A silence filled the throne room. The Empire was preparing something terrible, something that might destroy entire star systems. And the humans? They would have to face it. The Starbreaker. A weapon so dangerous that even the Empire feared it. A weapon that could tear open space itself. A weapon that had never been used until now. In the Emperor's throne room, alarms flashed red. Huge screens showed engineers unlocking ancient codes, pulling the Starbreaker from its vault deep under the capital. Grand Admiral Sarikhan stood stiffly beside the Emperor. Your Majesty, he said softly. Activating the Starbreaker could destroy half the capital. The Emperor's red eyes glowed brighter. Let it, he growled. If that human ship wants war, we will give it something the universe itself fears. But as the Empire prepared its ultimate weapon, something else was moving. The human battleship Q Genesis. The human ship makes its move in a quiet corner of the galaxy. The Q Genesis floated without sound. It looked like a dark blade surrounded by soft blue light. Inside its quantum core, thousands of shifting energy states pulsed in calm rhythm. It had watched the Empire. It had warned the Empire. It had disabled fleets without harming anyone, but now it sensed the activation of a catastrophic weapon. A soft female voice, calm but serious, filled the ship's interior. Quantum threat detected. Starbreaker energy spike rising. Q Genesis responded not with fear, not with anger, but with purpose. It shifted fully out of normal space, gliding into a state between realities, and shot forward at impossible speed. Destination: the Empire capital. The Empire prepares. Its largest fleet, the Empire, was ready. A defensive line of almost 3,000 warships formed around the capital world. Titans, dreadnoughts, destroyers. Every type of ship the Empire had built over centuries. It was the largest battle formation in their history. Admiral Sarikhan addressed the fleet through a galaxy-wide broadcast. We face an enemy ship that defies physics, but we are the Empire. Today we stand together. Today we destroy the human ghost. Roars filled the comms. But deep down, the soldiers felt something they had never felt before. Fear. The first appearance, the sensors screamed first. Blue quantum spike detected. Space rippled like water. A blue flash exploded in front of the fleet. And then Q Genesis appeared. Small, silent, alone. A single ship facing thousands. It's just standing there, an officer whispered. Admiral Sarikhan gave the order with a shaking voice. All ships fire. The storm of fire. 1,000 lasers. 1,000 missiles. Plasma beams, railguns, quantum torpedoes. The sky turned into a storm of death. Every weapon the Empire had unleashed flew toward the small human ship. And then something unbelievable happened. Every shot passed through the Q Genesis. Like it wasn't even there. The ship was out of phase, not fully physical. Admiral Sarikhan's voice broke. It's not real. It's not in our dimension. The weapons continued to pass through harmlessly. The Empire's strongest fleet was firing at a ghost. Q Genesis takes control. Then a wave of soft blue light spread outward from the Q Genesis. It looked gentle, beautiful, harmless. But to the Empire fleet, it was doom. Power levels dropping. Engines offline. We're losing control. One by one, the Empire ships froze in place. Engines shut down. Shields vanished. Weapons powered off. In less than 20 seconds, over 2,000 ships were dead in space. No fire. No impact. No battle. Just silence. A final warning, Admiral. Suriken watched his entire fleet collapse. Then a voice appeared on every ship, even those without power. The soft, calm human voice of Q Genesis. We do not wish to kill, but we will not allow destruction. Suriken shouted at the screen. You dare speak of peace while invading our capital? Q Genesis replied, the Starbreaker must not be activated. Its rupture will destroy entire star systems. Suriken froze. How does it know? But then the alarm screamed again. Starbreaker charging. Core at 40%. The Emperor had begun the activation. Q Genesis pulsed brighter and vanished. Inside the capital defense ring, the battleship reappeared inside the inner shield ring, something no ship had ever done. Q Genesis slid between reality layers like liquid light, phasing through barriers and defenses. Empire gunners tried to fire manually. Nothing worked. As Q Genesis approached the planet, the ground trembled. The Starbreaker was glowing like a newborn star. If it fired, millions would die. Face to face with the Emperor inside the Emperor's chamber. Screens flickered as Q Genesis appeared above the capital. The Emperor screamed, "Fire the Starbreaker!" But before the technicians could comply, a wave of blue light washed across the chamber. Their consoles went dark. The Emperor turned toward the window and saw Q Genesis hovering above the capital city, silent, watching, judging. Emperor raised his fist in fury. You think you can stop me? You think you can end the Empire? The ship responded, its voice calm as ever. Not end it. Free it. The Starbreaker overloads. The Emperor roared and slammed the emergency trigger. The Starbreaker. Core surged 50%, 65%, 80%, 90%. Alarms shrieked. The ground shook. Space twisted. The Emperor grinned. Now you die. But Q Genesis shifted. Not left, not right, not up, not down. It shifted out of space. Out of time. Out of reality. For a fraction of a second, it completely disappeared from the physical universe. And the Starbreaker fired into nothing. The energy crashed back into itself, overloading the weapon. A brilliant white light filled the sky. Then darkness. The moment before the end, when the light faded, the Starbreaker was gone, destroyed by its own power. Q Genesis phased back in, unharmed. The Emperor fell to his knees. Defeated. Outside, in the sky above the capital, Q Genesis pulsed once. A signal, a warning, a promise. And the Empire knew the final battle had begun. The Empire was broken. The Starbreaker, its greatest and most feared weapon, was gone. Its fleets were silent, floating helplessly in space. Its capital world trembled under a sky still glowing from the explosion. And in the center of it all hovered one ship, the Q Genesis, the human battleship that should not exist. Its blue quantum light flickered softly, almost like a heartbeat. Anyone who looked at it felt a strange calm, mixed with fear. It had won every battle without firing a single deadly shot. But now, something bigger was coming, something final. The Emperor refuses to fall inside the ruined throne room. Emperor Kareth dragged himself to his feet. His golden armor was cracked. His crown lay shattered on the floor, but his anger still burned. "Bring me my personal guard," he roared. "I will kill that human ghost myself." His generals looked at each other with hopeless faces. They had just witnessed the impossible, the strongest weapon destroyed by its own energy, the Emperor's own hand causing the failure. One general finally stepped forward. "My Emperor." The Starbreaker failure damaged every system. The guard cannot reach this chamber. The Emperor's eyes widened with rage. Then I will go to the command deck myself. He stormed toward the exit, but before he could take 2 steps, the windows behind him lit up bright blue. Q Genesis had arrived. The human ship speaks to a broken empire. The throne room darkened. Lights flickered. Every screen flashed blue. A calm voice echoed through every hall, every street, every home across the capital. The empire has caused suffering for too long. Today it ends. Citizens froze. Soldiers lowered their weapons. Officers stopped running. Everyone listened. We did not come to conquer. We came to prevent disaster. The Emperor screamed at the sky. Liar! You came to destroy us. The ship's voice responded gently. If destruction was our goal, the galaxy would already be ash. The Emperor had no answer. The last defense. Planetary cannons deep under the surface, the Empire still had one weapon. The planetary ion cannons, giant machines that could cut a warship in half. Automatic systems. Detected Q Genesis overhead. Target locked. Charging. Fire. A beam of white energy shot upward. Powerful enough to melt battleship armor. The beam hit and passed right through Q Genesis like a ghost. The crowd watching from below gasped. The ships above gasped. Even Emperor Karif staggered backward. Q Genesis wasn't just advanced. It was untouchable. And now it moved. The ship descends. The massive battleship lowered itself slowly toward the Capitol Tower. Buildings cracked from the energy pressure. The wind roared with quantum static. People shielded there. Q Genesis stopped only meters above the Emperor's tower. A bright doorway of blue light formed on its underside, shimmering. Like a portal, something stepped out. The human avatar appears. A figure walked down from the light bridge. Not a human soldier. Not a robot. A quantum avatar, a projection made of solid light. Shaped like a human, glowing softly blue. It stood before the Emperor. Everyone watching held their breath. The avatar raised its hand. This war is over. The Emperor pulled a knife from his belt and charged. With a simple movement, the avatar caught the Emperor's wrist. The blade dropped. The Emperor fell to his knees. The avatar spoke softly. You ruled by fear. But fear will no longer control this galaxy. And at that moment, something incredible happened. Across the capital, prisoners were released. Slave collars unlocked and fell to the ground. Blocked communications opened. War archives were exposed. Hidden crimes became public. Q Genesis was not destroying the Empire. It was freeing it. The fall of the Emperor. Guards rushed in, but they stopped when they saw their Emperor defeated and shaking. No one helped him. For the first time, he looked truly small. The avatar stepped back. Your people must choose their own future now. The Emperor shouted, voice cracking. You think they will choose you? A weapon? A monster? But the citizens outside were already cheering. Not for a conqueror. Not for a destroyer. For hope. For freedom. And for the end of fear. Q Genesis had become a symbol. The Empire surrenders. The head of the Imperial Senate broadcast the message galaxy-wide. The Empire surrenders. All attacks will stop. All worlds are free to choose their own rule. Across the galaxy, millions cried in relief. Oppressed worlds lit their skies with celebration. Rebel groups dropped their weapons. No more blood needed. Children who had only known war stared up at the stars with new dreams. All because of one ship. Q Genesis leaves a message for the galaxy. The avatar dissolved back into blue light. Q Genesis rose higher into the sky. Its quantum core glowed brighter and brighter. A final message echoed across the galaxy. Humanity does not seek empires. Humanity seeks peace. If darkness rises again, we will return. Then the ship shifted. Its form blurred. Its outline faded into dust-like particles, and Q Genesis vanished between the layers of reality. Gone, but never forgotten. The legend begins for centuries after. People told stories of the Quantum-Locked Battleship, a ship that could walk between dimensions, a ship that defeated an empire without killing, a ship that ended resistance and brought peace. Some believed it was still out there, watching. Some believed it would return when needed, but everyone agreed on one thing. The galaxy changed because one human ship refused to let darkness win. The legend of Q Genesis became the greatest HFY story ever told.